You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate. We're nice now.
All right, we're recording.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Yeah, of course I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Born ready.
You got your phone going off.
Woke up ready. I'm not texting people.
Yeah, during the middle of the podcast.
The middle. Don't worry. I was just getting out of my system.
But are you prepared?
Yeah, I've got
You got
6
a little
notes.
list going on there?
Little 6 bullet points.
Little 6
We're
bullet
freewheeling
points?
today, aren't we?
We are freewheeling.
I'm excited, but freewheeling.
We're going rogue.
Here we are. No schedule. 6 Nations is done.
Yeah. First thing I want to talk about is how much rugby sucks.
Yeah.
You won't believe what rugby has discovered.
9 out of 10 doctors hate how much rugby sucks now.
Now that I've learned that rugby hate content gets the most attention.
That's what we're going to lean into, isn't it?
We need to lead into the hate.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we'll start grifting really hard.
Every single thing we talk about, you have to put some sort of hate on it.
You do. I'm quite a grumpy man, so I'll be pretty good at this. This is my new phase, my villain era. You ready?
You have to practice in our real lives too, just for the podcast. So if you're taking a piss, you got to hate on that piss. Look at this pathetic stream I have.
Why is it so yellow? Be more clear.
Yeah, so that's the key. If you want more eyes and ears on your shit, you got to hate more.
1 like equals 1 prayer plus 1 hate.
Hello, friends. You're listening to the Friends of Rugby.
Are we the enemies of rugby today?
The enemies. Hello, friends. You're listening to the enemies of rugby.
Yeah.
All the hate today.
I'm ready for some hate.
We're just going to bathe in hate.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who.
Everyone's getting a fucking
Everyone's
bullet.
getting a fucking bullet today.
Yeah. All
right. Please like and share the podcast.
Yeah. Eviscerate that like button, or whatever people say.
Yeah. It's weird when you look at our database thing on who listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
I just never thought that droves of Kiwis would just listen to this podcast.
I'm less surprised by that than you.
Are you?
Well, yeah, that's what they do. They like rugby.
I knew there would be a lot of Canadians.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be more Americans listening to the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Americans?
Yeah.
Why?
The states that we get listeners from too is really weird too.
Missouri.
New Mexico and yeah. Some of the countries too, there's there's a guy in Russia that listens to every single one of our podcasts.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
So I wonder who that guy is. I want to meet that guy.
Yeah, that's
But
weird. I think it's VPNs messing with it though.
it could be
I think
VPNs.
it's VPNs.
That sucks.
Whatever. I don't care.
Everyone's just from Saskatchewan listening to the podcast.
We're haters now. We don't care where they come from as long as they're listening.
Yeah. All those countries suck.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start off today?
Well,
Do you want to talk about some games? Do you want to talk about some drama?
I think we go back to our roots in the URC right away.
Go back to the URC.
Yeah. Go back to where it all began for us.
You don't want to talk about how the Crusaders finally won a game?
We will.
You want to get to that
if we're
later?
getting a lot of No, okay, one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to jump back to your previous point about why so many Kiwis listen to it. I want to make a point about that, then we'll go into the URC, okay?
Okay.
So, you know how in Wales, it's supposed to be our national sport and all this, right?
Yeah.
The truth is, and I think this has always been a bit true. It's more true now. Football's more popular, right? It is. I grew up in that country. Kids play football in the parks.
This is breaking news here, people.
And I hate it. No, I think New Zealand is the only country in the world where that is the main fucking sport. That's the sport people play in the parks, Kids go to the park, they take a rugby ball, they do touch rugby or maybe real rugby. We love rugby in Wales, don't get me wrong, but football's probably slightly more popular for your average person.
I didn't know that there were so many Welsh people that watch the NFL.
Are there?
Well, you just said, isn't football there?
Oh, don't. No, we'll get to that. I got some real hate for that. Yeah, fucking NFL. Yeah,
what are you talking about? When you're saying football, you got to be...
where they use their foot to kick the ball, that sport. Soccer. I have started saying, to be honest, I do say soccer a lot more now. Just because
you were saying it today, and I was going to ask you.
I just say soccer now.
Do you say that, or is that something they'll say in Wales?
It's just, my friends back home kind of take the piss because I use Canadianisms and Americanisms, like I say sidewalk and soccer now.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's easier.
Instead of footpath.
I just want to fit in. I'm tired of sticking out like a sore thumb. Tired of going to the grocery store, which I wouldn't say in the UK.
What would you say?
The shop.
Just going to the shop. That could be anything.
Going to big Tesco's.
Like you could be going anywhere. You can go into.
Well, mind your fucking business.
Go to a hardware store. You can go to anything.
I could.
Just go into the shops.
Yeah, mind your business. That's what I'm doing.
Go to the shops, mate.
Come back some goods, you know. That's what I'm going to do.
Way to the shops.
Just going to the shops. That's what Kiwis say. Anyway, so New Zealand is like the only country in the world where that's the main sport, right? So that people are.
I would probably agree with that. I can't think of any.
Maybe
There's probably some smaller countries.
I mean, even Australia, where like they've got, league and Aussie rules are really popular. Like union is definitely not the most popular sport, although all their main sports are oval balled. Like, rugby union's the biggest sport in New Zealand, right? Unless league is bigger now. I don't know.
I'd probably go, if I had to guess off the top of my head.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah.
The Aussie rules.
I think it's Aussie rules first.
Maybe cricket.
Cricket's pretty big.
And then
league.
Then league, then maybe soccer.
I'd even say maybe like tennis is even. I don't know. I don't know. But it's definitely not union number one, is it?
Union's got to be down there.
Yeah. I want you to tell me about the Hayton Island that is growing towards rugby union. Irish are starting to become like an Ouroboros, eating their own tails.
I was starting to listen to some pundits bitching about how they're bitching because of the popularity of rugby. It's kind of overtaking other sports.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of jealousy
from the hurling and the Gaelic football boys.
They needed to be more sexy like rugby.
I don't think that's possible because no one else plays those sports.
I think it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but there's like it was kind of interesting to read that.
I'm surprised by that.
It is surprising because
why would they not be excited about being really successful at rugby?
I think a conversation like that 5 or 6 years ago was probably wouldn't have been a thing.
No, it wouldn't have.
No,
and Ireland were decent back then, but like Ireland are really good at rugby now. So.
It just shows how much winning does to a popularity of a sport.
I wouldn't know.
When you start
winning.
It's been a while. You guys are all you people in Wales are just living off hopes and dreams now.
Yeah, I say that as our women get crushed by the English team.
Yeah. What's the score now? Do you know the score now?
You know what? When we started watching it, I thought Wales were playing a wee bit better than they were against Scotland. I thought we were a bit rusty against Scotland, but I always knew England would win that game. So I guess I'll say something about the Women's Six Nations right off the bat. Like, I'm glad that a lot of the other unions have got their shit together and they've made the women's team professional. I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a while before any game except England and France matters, for the tournament's sake.
Look at the score right now. Like the France, it's only 15-5.
Oh, is it? But it's to France though, isn't it?
At halftime.
But it's to France.
Yeah, to France. France is going to win that game.
Yeah.
They just have they just got a head start. Give it like 3 or 4 years, and that thing's gonna level out.
Totally, yeah, totally.
You'll have you'll find out who where the teams are.
I think so. Like it's going in the right direction, definitely, and the crowds look good in all the games, which is excellent.
Yeah, because we started watching the first 10 minutes of the England Wales game.
We did.
And that stadium looked packed.
It did. It looked good, and I thought Wales started pretty well actually. Yeah. We just haven't got we haven't been professional for long enough. We'll get there.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I think the product's still good.
I enjoyed watching it. It's just, it feels like the World Cup a while ago where it was only really South Africa and New Zealand that were going to win it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the only thing. I don't want to make that a negative thing.
We're hating today.
Oh, yeah, we're hating today. Yeah, it fucking sucks. Like England are just so much better.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch that?
Not me.
Yeah, I don't
Not me. Yeah. Okay. But that's let's go to the URC.
The URC.
Keep some structure on this.
What was that?
Train.
What was your big thing from the weekend? It's still going on.
It's still going on. We're recording on a Saturday, which is a bit unusual because we've got a long weekend, haven't we? So I wouldn't say long weekend in the UK.
No, you wouldn't. What would you call it? Holiday
bank
weekend?
Holiday weekend.
Banked holiday weekend.
Bank holiday, not past tense. Present tense. Bank holiday. But I watched a wee bit of Lions Ospreys. As soon as I tuned in, Ospreys have a healthy lead. As soon as I tune in, Lions look like going to walk all over Ospreys with this, a pretty unfairly disallowed try and then a pretty nice try by the Lions fullback against a pretty sloppy Ospreys defence. But they won and they jumped up to 7th, which does give Welsh rugby some hope. Ospreys won, I mean.
That middle pack in the URC in the table there.
That's what we want to talk about.
It's pretty competitive.
Yeah, because I've been a bit harsh about the URC, saying how the Gallagher, like anyone can beat anyone except maybe Newcastle are not in the run-in. But after this weekend and maybe the couple of the weekends in the middle of the Six Nations, the middle of the pack is actually really competitive, isn't it? And you look at the points there, it's pretty tight. I think I was still a little bit critical, and I was a bit disappointed because Leinster comfortably beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like Leinster are going to lose now.
You know what? And about that game too, because that was a surprising game. I watched that game.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a way different game, a more competitive game.
Yeah.
But I would have to look at I'd have to look at the stats of all these games of when South African teams go to the north.
Yeah.
And when the teams go to the south.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me like just off the cuff of just like what I know now is that when the South African teams come up to the Northern Hemisphere, they struggle.
They do.
And then when teams go down to them, there's a struggle. So if Leinster went down to the Bulls, played there, I think that would have been a way different game. There's just something it's just that like
they don't travel well, do they?
Yeah, it's both sides don't travel well. I don't know what it is. They show up, do they get off a plane, and then 2 hours later they got to play a game? Like, what's going on?
Well, the time difference. What was one of the advantages for the South Africans? The time difference wasn't such a big deal.
No, I think it's only like depending on where they are. I think it's only an hour or a couple hours at most.
Yeah.
Right. So you're thinking that there's not going to be that like jet lag, but there's just something about like when the southern hemisphere comes up to the northern hemisphere, like they just struggle back and forth.
They do.
Right. So
and I don't. When you go to South Africa, everyone talks about the altitude in some of the stadiums. That definitely affects it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why South African teams struggle as much as they do in the Northern Hemisphere. And we were talking about reffing differences, right?
Maybe the cold?
I mean, it gets cold in South Africa. Like, we got some high plateaus.
Yeah, but they probably get some like...
It's drier there though, right?
Drier and cold.
Yeah.
Like that damp cold gets you.
Yeah.
Like Canada in soccer.
Yeah.
Scheduled some game against Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
In November.
Yeah.
And so when they got there, it was like minus 15 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's fucking freezing. These Mexican players like were freezing their ass off, and they lost that game.
Yeah.
And there was big controversy about that, right?
Yeah.
So I would say like the cold weather is kind of, I don't know. I would assume it does get cold in a lot of places
but not for as long or as consistently as it does in the Northern Hemisphere, right?
Yeah. So when they're coming up there, they're just like, because remember the summers and winters are swapped.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Too. So they're coming out of.
It's their autumn now, right?
Yeah.
They're
so they're
going
coming
into
out
winter.
They're coming out of summer in South Africa and going into winter.
Yeah.
And the boys have just been playing in winter up north.
They're kind of hardened to that nasty weather.
It still was a surprising game. Like Leinster had all their guys back.
Leinster looked really good as well, to their credit. Like, they scored 2 tries in like 4 minutes. I saw, Lowe was having a hell of a game. Gibson Park was having a hell of a game. Leinster's forward pack were not just powerful. They were, throwing offloads. Like, they've got a really nice all-court game. I know I've said this before, but what was impressive about that win was how they were using their backs a lot more as well. Like, they don't look like a team who just bullies you physically. They can do everything now, which is impressive, The Bulls are fucking units.
Yeah.
So they're not going to worry physically, but Leinster can do a lot now. They've got a really big toolbox.
Yeah, I still think, though, that if that game was played in South Africa, we would have probably seen a different result.
Maybe.
Which is kind of weird. It's like depending on where the game's played, on how like the outcome is favored more one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just like an awkward thing. But
it's almost like we shouldn't have a league that is that geographically distant.
No, they just got to get more used to it. And this is also a thing too, about this Leinster Bulls game too. Like this summer series, is giving me a lot more confidence.
You think Ireland are gonna?
Well, these players know these other players, so it's not going to be such a rugby culture shock.
No,
because when they go down to South Africa to play, like they know these players. They've been playing against these guys all year, and it's not going to. I think they're going to be way more prepared than an Irish team has ever been going to South Africa to play.
I think I agree, but I agree with it from the opposite point of view, because if you are a South African team losing to Leinster, you're playing the Irish side without some important additions, Omani, Tadhg Beirne significantly actually, but if the Bulls...
Tadhg Beirne plays for Munster.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's the addition that helps the Leinster team when they become Ireland, right? Uh-huh. So, the South African teams not only do they know these guys? If you're playing against Leinster, you're basically playing against the Irish national side.
Don't get me wrong,
right?
too. I think that the box side that's going to be playing Ireland, they're going to be the most prepared.
That's
box
what I'm
side
saying.
too.
That's what I'm saying.
It's going both ways.
Right.
So
Fair
they're
enough.
going to be well prepared for what they know.
Yeah.
Especially because I think it's even actually. I think you made a good point. I think it's more of an advantage.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Playing
more of an
Leinster
advantage to
is
South
basically
Africa.
playing Ireland.
That's right.
They
So-
do play a different style.
Yeah.
But
from an Irish point of view, you can beat the Bulls, but when the South African teams come together, like they have got some serious talent spread over 4 teams.
they got some serious talent spread over like dozens of teams.
Not exactly.
Because they're picking from everywhere.
And they got some unknowns, right? They're bringing in boys from France. They're bringing in boys from
the Prem.
from the Prem.
Guys, Japan.
Yeah, exactly. So it's plays to South Africa's advantage because they've got some hidden aces up their sleeve. Whereas if you play Leinster and you lose to them, you lost. But you know how to prepare and you know you've got some top quality coming from several teams. Whereas Leinster have got to bring in like Tyburn, Jack Carty.
Oh man, this series is going to be a fucking war. I cannot wait. I hope both teams are fully fit.
They will be.
I want both teams fully fit, fully firing.
It's going to be good, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sorry, I meant Jack Crowley, not Jack Carty.
That's okay.
There's a lot of Jacks and Carthys and things going on. Yeah.
But yeah, back to the URC, the table. Like, that the competitiveness it's pretty good. Like all these teams, I think can. Besides, I think the Bulls and Leinster are ahead of the pack by a significant amount. But I think the Bulls lost to the Stormers not too long ago.
They did,
right?
Yeah, they did.
So
Stormers aren't that far away, mind. They could still make top 4.
And Leinster still lost 2 games this year.
They did,
right?
They did. Who did they lose to? I think they lost to Munster, didn't they?
I can't remember now. I'd have to go back onto their fixture list. And I know it was early.
It was early.
Right? It was during, I think it was like just right after the World Cup or something like that. So the internationals were back.
Yeah.
But looking at the teams in the top 8, like I'm seeing teams that can basically beat each other on their day right now.
I disagree. I couldn't see Ospreys or Edinburgh beating Leinster in a knockout game. Couldn't see it.
Yeah,
I think it
comes down to the top 4. Maybe could probably the top
Benetton,
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Can't see Benetton beating Leinster.
No, but I can see
Munster doing it. I could see the Bulls doing it if they're better than they were.
Can you see Glasgow doing it?
I couldn't. They've had too many dodgy games recently. They've had too many kind of in both this and Europe. Like they've had too many games where I'm just not convinced.
I can't see Glasgow beating Leinster either.
So for me, I'm excited. The middle of the pack is competitive, but but I'm still maintaining that criticism, right? I cannot see anyone Leinster too far ahead because they're basically the Irish national side, right?
They're also basically like top 14 money.
They are
in the URC.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they have like a big financial advantage over basically everyone.
Yeah, and that's that sort of.
Because some of these teams are actually having some financial troubles.
That's what we were talking about, right? How Ulster and Munster are sort of talking about some surprising financial woes in a union that is actually pretty solid. They're doing as best as they can. Like Ireland are the model you're jealous of, right? Like Ireland are the model everyone wants to emulate, and there's still financial problems, which just shows you we're not really over what COVID did to the sport. We're not really over the financial imbalances of trying to compete with the wages of the French league, right? You have to pay guys in the URC and the Gallagher Prem big money. Otherwise, why wouldn't they go to France? Because who's going to France? Sinclair and
Lewis Lellam.
Yeah, so
they're going from the Prem over.
2 significant players from England going to France. Like, unless
they
you're
have
paying
people. They're fucking like France is like convincing players to go over there to play in the 2nd division.
A lot of Welsh players go to play in the 2nd
I'm pretty
div.
sure. Who's that English lock who's leaving? He retired.
Joe Launchbury?
No. Oh, come on. I
I
think he plays for Northampton Saints.
Courtney Laws.
Courtney Laws. I think he's going to play in the 2nd division.
I think he is.
Because I think he's going to Reeve or
is it one of those teams that's probably going to get promoted, and that's why because George North is going to France because he thinks the team who he's going to are going to get promoted.
But that's how much money is in France right now.
Oh, I know,
and that's how healthy rugby is over there. People are packing stadiums for the 2nd div, and they're able to pull over rock stars from other countries there.
Yeah.
So
And if you're someone like Kyle Sinclair going over to play there, you're not going over there for a holiday. They'll tan your hide over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You play week in, week out and brutal. Yeah.
Because I heard with Courtney Laws too, like part of his like contract too was like even school fees for his children.
Right.
To go to like some private school and stuff.
And you've got to remember as well, like the conditions for your life are just better. Like it's a beautiful country with lovely warm weather, with amazing beaches, or you could live in Northampton, which is just a rainy town.
I've never been there. So.
It's a nice town, and I like it's got lots of history and culture, but it's not living on a beach, is it? You know what I mean? Like the southwest of France, where rugby's popular, like you get paid a lot more money to go.
Is that where
there.
he's going though? Where is he going?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is a lot of the heartland of French rugby is like the southwest and the sort of more south of France, isn't it? Where it's kind of really nice weather.
I'm trying to Google it here.
We're freewheeling a lot today.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. Actually, no, I do hate it because I'm hating today.
Yeah, you're probably. So Courtney Laws is due in France Friday.
He's due in France on Friday. That's weirdly specific.
And he is going to Brive.
Brive.
Yeah.
Just Brive.
So do you know where Brive is?
No.
I heard Brive is. I think I heard rumors that Brive is not like the most fancy town in France.
It's actually in Scotland.
It goes to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know where it actually is.
On
the maps.
We've got computers right here. Jamie, can you pull it up for us?
Hey, Jamie, that's what we need.
The Jamie.
We need someone to...
It's south of France.
It's like in the center, though.
Nah, it's the south.
It's like...
It's middle bottom.
Yeah, middle bottom. Not too close to be. He ain't getting no beach days.
Mate.
You got to drive.
I bet there's vineyards and mountains.
Probably.
It's going to be beautiful.
Probably some beautiful stuff there.
Yeah. So, URC, though. Back to the URC. I think I said all I want to say about it. Like, it is nice that the middle's competitive. Dragons scraped himself off the bottom with the bargain bin fixture, Zebra Dragons.
We should have watched that game.
I watched the highlights.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't.
Because
watch
that looks like a game that that would have been up for.
I was out. I would have watched it otherwise. Yeah, that would have been a game. Yeah, that I should have watched actually.
Just watch the bottom teams play each other.
Yeah. So they're not the lower bookend of the bloody table anymore. Not for long. It could change. Who knows? Anything could happen.
Before we move on from the URC too, I want to talk about the Tong and Thor rumors with Leinster.
Oh, he's going to
Tupou there.
Tupou's going to Leinster, is he?
Well, it's rumored that they're bidding for him.
Okay.
And I would assume there's a fuckload of top 14 teams that want him too.
You'd assume so. He'd get looked after a lot better at Leinster, I think.
Yeah, I think the healthier lifestyle would be at Leinster.
Yeah, he's kind of injury prone as well.
Well, he's not having a great Super Rugby season. He might even actually be injured right now.
Yeah.
But I know he's been struggling this year because I was looking at some like things where people were trying to predict like who's on the radar for the Wallabies.
Yeah.
And some of the things he wasn't even on.
Really?
Yeah, so he might be struggling with form.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put too much into that.
I think Leinster are just looking for cover in the international windows, probably.
I don't like this idea. And actually, the Irish media that I've been listening to, too, they are not really keen on this idea
I
either.
wouldn't be if I was a Leinster
I just
fan.
feel like it's someone not needed.
Yeah.
Like, why do
if
we
your
need
academy's so amazing. Like,
I don't even like RJ Snyman
at Munster.
playing in Munster or in Leinster. I just don't like the idea. Like, you know what? There should be enough guys coming through.
And there are.
Yeah,
there definitely are.
that they should be relying on more. I just don't like the idea of him taking minutes away from a player that they should be developing, especially in that position. Like in Ireland, the tight head position and the loose head position.
We talk about that a lot, don't we? How there's a gap in quality.
You got three guys.
Yeah.
You got Porter at loose head.
Yeah.
And after him, quality just drops right off. And then in tight head, you have Furlong and you have Binley Phelan.
Binley Phelan. Finley Beelam.
Finley Beelam. Fuck. And then I know you have Ollie Jaeger now starting to get in, but he just got a big injured. He's going to need surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't even know if he's going to make it to the summer. It says it's not too serious.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea.
No, I get it.
Right?
I get it. And if
let those guys go play France.
Yeah.
Let them take up French spots.
Yeah.
Like, go make money.
Take a risk with some of your academy kids, right? Like that's what you've been doing so well for a while.
Yeah, and it's worked.
It has worked.
It's fucking worked.
I think it's more a prestige thing. I think it's showing that they are a world-class team who attract world-class talent. I think sometimes you have to have a marquee player if you're a big dog, just to sort of build your profile a bit,
It's kind of also, I find a little bit insulting too, because it's just like kind of waving their money dick around at the URC. Like, look how much money we have. We'll just fucking buy
I felt like
these
that
guys.
with Munster when they got Dale Ende and Snyman a bit, right? Like their academy is pretty stacked, and you bring in 2 World Cup winning Springboks, and then neither of them played a lot. But,
you know what? Irish rugby and Springbok rugby, like Irish and South African rugby, are kind of in bed with each other.
oh yeah,
There's a lot of mixture and back
Yeah.
and forth between the two,
yeah.
and
But I think there's also like they like being in each other's pockets so they can know each other's secrets.
yeah,
as well.
it's
very
almost
Game
like
of
they're
Thrones, isn't it?
frenemies.
They
They are
are.
fucking frenemies.
They got
right?
knives behind their back where they're kissing, haven't
They're
they?
like
Yeah.
switching coaches,
Yeah,
and they got
yeah,
like
yeah.
players all over the place, and
Yeah.
they're kind of like, oh yeah, we're friends, but not really.
Jack Nienaber's like calling Razzie, like, you know what's going on over here, mate? I'll tell you. Like, and he's like,
switching notes and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, because you look at those two countries, there's a lot of back and forth between
Oh,
those
yeah.
two. Suspicious. It's very suspicious.
They both know what they're doing. They both know exactly what they're doing.
And
So,
I think it's been beneficial for them both.
yeah,
That's what I think.
yeah.
I think you're going to start seeing a lot of in the future. You're going to see a lot of South African players that are applying their trade in Ireland, playing for the Springboks.
Wait, that's happening now.
Yeah.
Snyman's he had a good game the other day as well against the Ospreys.
Even with the coaching, there's Irish coaches in the Springbok setup.
Yeah,
There's Irish coaches like all over the place there, and then you got South African coaches up north.
yeah. Well, there's always been a strong link between Munster and South Africa. I think that's just kind of spread a little bit around now. I think there was a couple of Kitsoffs at Ulster. I think Dwayne Vermeulen was at Ulster as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not unique. But the South Africans all over the URC and the Gallagher Prem, but the Irish teams can attract
It
the
just
Springboks.
seems
right?
like there's more of a friendly kind of relationship there.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what they're doing though. You know exactly what
It's a frenemy situation.
It is 100%. Yeah, and South Africa are used to exporting their players. Ireland don't export their players, do they? And I think we're getting to the stage where they could. They've got enough talent that is it Hirsch at Munster was being looked at by the French.
I just can't even believe I can't even think about how much fucking money Leinster is paying to keep that squad together.
Yeah,
They must be paying those guys like all over the place with different things to keep those players playing there. But players like winning teams though.
of course they do. That's what I'm saying. And people always say like, "Oh, Ireland's got this incredible system," and they definitely do. And people always say, "Oh, look how good their academy is," and it definitely is. But they can do that because they've got the money to do it. Right? Academies cost money. Having a big squad costs money, right?
But the quality that the Leinster have, I can't even imagine the millions that's going through to keep those players playing there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You've got guys who'd happily warm a bench in Leinster than play elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so attractive there.
It
The
is so
guys
attractive,
will
yeah.
waste their career
Yeah.
losing playing minutes,
Yeah.
staying in Leinster,
Yeah.
than playing somewhere else.
Look at the Byrne brothers,
Byrne brothers
and
are
the Prendergast kid,
Yeah, that's a perfect
3
and-
top quality 10s.
Yeah, and Kieran Frawley.
Yeah.
You got 4 guys
Actually very good 10s, yeah.
that are amazing 10s.
Yeah.
3 of them
Yeah.
are like could play for Ireland as 10.
Meanwhile, Munster signing Billy Burns. Like,
And
give
you
him
got-
one of your 10s.
You got Frawley fucking around at fullback.
Yeah.
And you got Ross and Harry kind of switching it up.
Yeah.
Whoever's fit and not fit.
Yeah.
And you got Pendergast. Like he's probably the most. What's the word? He's getting the worst of it, I think.
He is, because in the under 26 nations, he looked incredible.
He's losing playing minutes,
and he needs to kick on now.
Yeah.
Right? He needs to get a pro level experience now.
And then Ulster's just fucking around, giving away their fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Share the love, Leinster.
Nah, we don't need a 10.
Yeah. But that's the thing when you look at like Irish fans, and as much as they're unified in the national team, as every country is, there is some animosity between those. What do they call them? Provinces.
Oh, there is. There
Yeah.
is. And I'm not really privy to it.
Yeah. I love a good sports rivalry.
I've made some comments on some things, and then I wasn't expecting the reaction, and it was just like on Reddit or on Facebook or anything.
Yeah.
And then my comment section's just filled with Irish people fighting each other over like the hate between like Leinster and Munster and
Yeah.
Ulster and stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't expecting that outcome.
Yeah.
From the topic that I like posted
Yeah.
and stuff, and I was like, holy
That's
fuck.
good though. That's a sign of a healthy
Yeah.
sports country. You want strong rivalries between your teams, right? Whereas like you look at Wales and it's like, I don't want to cheer for the Ospreys, but when they beat the Lions, I'm like, that's good. We needed a Welsh win. But in an ideal situation, I would be rooting for Cardiff every single game, and every single time the Ospreys lost, I'd be like, good, fuck them. But that's not the case because
you're kind of cheering for.
I'm just cheering for way. Yeah, I'm just like fucking table scraps, of joy.
Here's the extra potatoes. Oh, thank you. You're just like on the floor in the corner. Just eat this.
Tiny morsels of joy. Like, no, but that's a good sign. And so I'm not criticizing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a good, healthy sign. Like, I want the Munster boys to hate the Leinster boys. I think it's because it's kind of unequal, right? Like, Leinster have so many resources and talent, and the other guys, if you're owned by the union, as a kind of a collective thing going on, you're thinking if you're Munster or someone, you'd be like, just give us one of your fucking tens, like, But you got Jack Crowley, so you're probably happy. So
what are we concluding? I think the UFC is like pretty healthy right now.
I think it's not as.
I think when you see Benetton in 5th place.
Yeah.
I think it's a healthy league.
I think so. Munster, I feel like Munster kind of lucky to be in 4th. They've got a hell of a squad, but they haven't had their best season.
They've been up and down.
They also hot and cold, eh?
I'm kind of thinking they're going to step up in this.
They've done that for the last 2 seasons.
The final rounds
they
here.
They do that.
Because now they started off with like fucking 20 injuries to their squad.
That's true.
And they're starting to get a lot of those players back now, healthy.
Yeah.
And so their squad is looking pretty deadly right now.
It's a nice looking squad.
So I'm kind of excited for the last few. Also, Leinster's because the Championship Cup is back.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
It is.
So like Leinster are going to be put to the sword here. Like they're going to have a bunch of challenges coming up. So this is going to put what's his name, Niabar?
Yeah.
He's going to have to. This is his proving ground right here in the next few games.
I think he's proved himself pretty well so far, but the competition in the Champions Cup is sterner, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is really going to like show like how good and how much of an impact he's had on the team.
Yeah,
coming up in the next couple.
Because he's inherited an incredible team, hasn't he? So he needs to show what he can do now. Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's going to be a proving ground for him too. So that's going to be interesting in the thing.
They're playing Leicester on April 6th.
Yeah, I got all the fixtures up here. We go over that at the end. We'll probably make some predictions at the end of this thing for that. So
let's get on to some exciting news.
What, Crusaders finally getting a win?
Sure. That's exciting news.
They were good that whole game.
They were good that game. Yeah, they were good.
I was actually surprised they didn't play. Chiefs didn't. They rested Damian McKenzie, their best player.
You idiots.
That was kind of disrespectful.
It was arrogant.
Or you know what? I think it was. You know what? Actually, I take that back because I know they have like resting laws for the guys.
Yeah.
And I think they gave him like a rest day, and the Crusaders have lost 5 games in a row.
Yeah, maybe it's not disrespectful. It's not exactly against the run of play, is it? Like, they've not been impressive. But it is good though, because as much as I think there's probably a lot of Kiwis who aren't Crusaders fans, and a lot of people, Australians, Pacific Islanders, going, thank fuck the Crusaders aren't winning every game. It is nice to see a team not totally capitulate after losing one coach, Like they've still got quality and depth, So
also, I think the Highlanders are kind of like the biggest letdown of this Super Rugby so far.
Yeah,
they looked good in preseason.
Right at the start, they looked good. Yeah, they won a couple of games at the start, didn't they? But they're just a real
hot and cold team. There's really like no consistency.
Kind of shit the bed against the Hurricanes, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but the Hurricanes are on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I think the season is starting to go a bit more like I'd expected now. Like the Kiwi teams are starting to pull ahead a little bit, or I'm starting to see that they will, Like their quality is definitely better than the Australian and the Drua and Moana Pacifica. But I still maintain that this is a much better Super Rugby season than it has been in the last few years, just because it seems more competitive,
Well, you got in the top 5 right now. You have the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
You got the Blues.
Yeah.
And the Blues and Brumbies are tied.
Yeah, the Brumbies are challenging. That's
true. For points.
Yeah.
And then you got the Reds.
Yeah. I heard Queensland is where the rugby union people are at, so.
You kind of got a really good competitive mix here. I think the Blues and the Hurricanes are going to be the teams to beat.
Yeah, looks like it. I think one of those will win. I think the Hurricanes probably win it. Someone tell me though. I don't know fuck all about Super Rugby, so
the Hurricanes are gonna.
That's my definite prediction.
They're gonna bull rush it.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what I'm talking about, so may as well make a wild prediction.
Because there's like fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. But also the Chiefs can be up there too. There been, I don't know. Yesterday was a really shocking form for them.
Yeah, but like you said, you're resting your best player. So
Yeah, but one player shouldn't make.
neither should one coach. Look at the Crusaders.
That's true too.
So, maybe they're resting on individuals a bit too much down there.
Fucking Damian Kenzie just carrying that whole fucking
Maybe
team.
he is. Maybe he is. Well, I remember when Gatland was running the Chiefs for a bit. He just did not know how to use Damian McKenzie, I don't think. Like, he was trying to do his very structured game plan. It's like, you've got to let that man float around. He's a leaf on the wind.
He was out of his element there.
He was.
Like, Super Rugby is a different game.
It is a different
game. When
game.
you watch Super Rugby, it's a very different game. Like, it runs, it's just played, it's like just pure chaos rugby. And like, it's not international rugby.
It's mental.
That's where I thought that Scott Robertson was going to have this kind of the same kind of culture shock when he goes to, when he starts coaching the All Blacks.
Right.
Because he's been coaching Super Rugby for so long. All his rugby is Super Rugby. So when I thought he was going to go up in there, but now that I look at his coaching team.
They've been grooming him, though.
Yeah, but his coaching team too. And who's behind?
Yeah.
Like, who's behind the doors there?
He's not alone.
No, he's not alone. He's
alone.
going to be, and so.
Yeah. And he'll have a little bit of grace. Like, if he doesn't come out the gate firing, I think there's enough people who will go, give him a minute and he'll be fine. Because South Africa are the world champions, right? So you're not going to expect New Zealand to come out with a new coach, having lost a lot of their superstar All Blacks to retirement, and just beat South Africa. The crazy thing is it's exactly the kind of thing they've historically done, right? They will just come out and hammer someone like South Africa or Australia. But I think he's probably got enough cash in the bank so that a lot of Kiwis will go, we'll give him a minute, I don't think it's like Ian Foster where they were like, fuck him, get rid of him. We hate him.
Just looking at his whole, like, Razor's whole setup, I think you're coming into a new era of the All Blacks. Domination.
I'm so scared. Genuinely.
I am too.
Genuinely, yeah.
I'm terrified.
Oh,
like, he is making me want to poop my pants.
I know.
Because, like, you look at that setup and you look at the difference between him not being at the Crusaders and not. That was a big sign for me. Like, that was huge. Like, look, if he's the difference.
Who thought Crusaders losing would be a sign that New Zealand would get a lot fucking better, eh?
Right?
Yeah.
So
I got the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. Like, I think there's a new. If you're an All Black fan, like, you must be just like, your dick must be just fucking rock hard, like, waiting for that first kickoff.
Yeah,
like, no, all confidence too.
Yeah,
just pure hard dick and confidence, just walking into every.
They
game.
don't think that. They're sat there going,
I think there's. I would be. Yeah, if you're a Kiwi, like, you're just fucking rocking in.
No.
Yeah,
I think
like,
I'll
you
take
took
the
10
first game.
Viagra. Like, you're just fucking ready to go. I would have no fears right now.
Fair enough. I think they're probably a little bit more humble than that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so
yeah.
What else is going on in the world of rugby?
Well, you wanted to talk about Louis Rees-Zammit, but I don't particularly, but go ahead.
Why don't you want to talk about Louis Rees-Zammit?
Because it's not related to rugby. Don't give a shit.
He's a star.
No, he's not. He used to be. Then he left the sport that we love.
The NFL wants us talking about the NFL to rugby fans.
And I don't
That's the only reason why he's there.
I don't give those scum airtime. Good luck to him. See you later. See you never again.
There's a lot of the articles I'm seeing now about him is that he's like made the NFL.
Yeah.
So, but this is exactly kind of the same situation as Christian Wade.
It's not exactly the same.
I think he signed for a training squad, just like.
In that sense, yeah.
Yeah,
so but it's signed, even then
he signed for the training squad for the Chiefs.
But the Chiefs are like back-to-back Wonder Bowl champions, aren't they? So that's presumably that's
this is
more
also
significant.
You got to remember the marketing behind this too. Behind him.
I think that's what I'm a bit
like, even in the American media now,
about it.
I've been starting to watch like American media stuff about him because he's starting to come up now on that.
Yeah.
And he's being like regarded as like they've just brought over the Messier of rugby. Like he's like, oh, he's the best player in the world.
So on one hand, I'm thinking, Louis Rees-Zammit has a bigger rugby profile than Christian Wade. I always thought Christian Wade should got more England caps. He was class, but Louis Rees-Zammit is a lion, right? Like, he is a world-class winger. He's established a world-class winger. So I think he's probably the first person in that situation he's that high profile going into the NFL. So that's the difference, I think. The other guys who've gone to the NFL, apparently there was some other guy who plays for the Eagles or something who took him a couple of years and he made it and now he's really good.
There's a handful of players that have came over from rugby. There is a lot.
I believe it, but what I'm saying is like his profile is high enough that it deserves a bit of hype, I've no idea about the sport. I know a lot of people are saying he'll never make it, and then other people are going, "Shut up, he's done better than you said he would." I don't know. I don't know the sport.
I think you're going to see the same thing that Christian Wade went through. I think he'll play a couple of. I think he'll play a couple of exhibition games.
Yeah.
but he's not going to be in the final squad.
Do you know the crazy thing about Christian Wade was as well? Like, he scored a touchdown with his first ever touch.
Yeah.
And then they were like, I don't want you.
Because you got the
That's as good as you could do.
Because you got the best of the best.
But like, he did the best thing he could have done, and they were still like, don't worry about
someone
it.
better. That's why.
But how do you know they're better if they didn't do that?
Because these guys live, breathe football. They got like
I don't know. For me, the proof is
the
in the
amount
pudding.
of money that goes into analyzing and profiling a player.
Yeah, I know,
and their
I know,
performance.
I know.
They have these guys down to a T.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
know like how fast their fucking middle finger is gonna move. Like they know.
I know it's true.
Everything about these guys, like the money that goes in, the science that goes in behind, like profiling a player to know if they're good enough.
Yeah.
Is.
Oh, it's to the
It's in the billions.
Minuscule
There's probably
details.
$1 billion going in, like more than $1 billion going into player analyzing.
Do you remember Rocky IV, where they were training Dolph Lundgren in a Soviet laboratory, and it was like measuring every single tiny level? It feels that's the NFL. Ironically, what the Americans are taking the piss out of, they're guilty of, right?
It's kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
So
you go on. I've got a thing I want to talk about. Actually, I just remembered. But
Okay.
you say your thing.
So yeah, I think it's very mirroring Christian Wade. I wouldn't get your hypes up too much.
I'm not. I don't. Yeah.
So I thought him choosing the Chiefs was kind of like, okay, choosing the best team.
But did he choose them, or
How does it work? I think he went to New York.
It makes it sound like he's at a buffet, though. Presumably, he doesn't have that many options.
Well, he did.
He did.
He did. I think he had 5 or 6 options.
Oh, fair
He
enough.
went to a few teams that week.
Why wouldn't you go to the best team, though?
I don't know. I think you would want to I don't know. I thought going to the Chiefs was kind of cliche.
Cliche. No one's done this before ever.
They're like a dynasty team. I don't know. Like it's just. I thought it was kind of cheesy.
That would be a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of
me.
people would be. I guess you're not like a guy that's going to make a difference on the team, where you're like, I'm going to build this team up.
Yeah, you're making it sound like he's got the world at his fingertips. Even I know enough to know that he's not probably getting in a team. You know,
well, he had his world.
May as well pick the best one.
He had his finger. He had a good option of teams that wanted for him to play.
Oh, fair enough.
For them, so mostly they want that They want those eyeballs, right?
I think so.
Right, there's money behind them.
If you go,
so they want those eyeballs. They want those UK eyeballs, like right on top of.
yeah,
right onto them. So.
You picking that up?
No.
All
but
right, keep going. My dog's howling, but whatever. We'll keep going.
So I'm not like. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. He's gonna play a couple games and then he's gonna drift off, and then he'll be back in. He'll be back in the English and the Welsh fold.
Back in a Gloucestershire jersey before the year's
by
out.
Christmas.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know enough about that. I do get a bit annoyed where people are like absolutely shitting on him, and there's a bunch of people on Reddit going, he's not even got a chance, hope in hell. And some other people are like, can we just go back to talking about rugby? Like, but I do want to say something else. So I was watching a YouTube highlights reel of his because I'm sad. And all of a sudden, all the comments, it's like hundreds of Kansas City Chiefs fans saying
really?
American things like, this kid is fire, and all these like Americanisms. And I'm like, what is this? You know, like on this little Welsh guy's YouTube channel. It's just blown his channel up.
Because he's starting to actually, he's starting to be named and profiled in American media now.
Yeah, they called him Irish the other day, so they need to learn some geography first before they start commenting, you know?
Yeah, so I've seen like a lot of American YouTubers, podcasts, there's like are starting to talk about him now.
Yeah.
Right? Now that he's like got out of that like development thing program and he's now signed with a team. So people are starting to and there's like hype.
Yeah.
Like they think he's going to be a thing.
That's mental.
So it's not like they're actually the rugby community is actually being way harsher than him.
Than the NFL. That's what I thought. They were all really positive.
Which I found, they're really like they think he's going to be some sort of like.
I just thought that was the culture thing, though. They're not a very hateful people, are they? They're very happy and excited generally. When
Americans. It comes to football,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you something else though, which was a bit of a culture shock for me, right?
Yeah.
So there was a YouTube video, and it was like some NFL podcast sort of thing, right? And one of the guys says he's a properly jocked white, which we certainly appreciate, right? And I was like, he's a properly jocked white. Presumably that's like some sports term, not a reference to his ethnicity, right? So I was checking out the comments. I was like, surely. It was a straight up like, thank God he's white sort of thing. And I was like,
really?
And I had a bit of culture shock, and I was like, what the fuck? Do people say that? And apparently they do. Like, so they called him a properly jocked white. And I guess it was not as...
Who said this?
It was just... And it was pretty mainstream NFL channel, right? And there was a white guy and a black guy on the channel, and they were both laughing about it. So it's not as racially charged as you might think. Apparently, there's a bit of like banter about how much better black guys in America are at football, which obviously they definitely are more prominent in the sport, and they're, obviously have a kind of bigger profile. And I guess there's a bunch of like white guys there who are like sort of joking with them, like,
okay. Yeah,
so I guess it's not as horrible as it's, but I did get a bit of culture shock. So you just wouldn't fucking say that here, would you?
You wouldn't say that in Canada.
No, you wouldn't say it in Canada. You wouldn't even say it in Canada. Like, you wouldn't dream of saying that, but they were like having a laugh about, he's a properly jock white guy finally. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was just kind of jarring to me. Do you know what I mean? I was just, maybe it's just because I'm like British and I'm like, oh no, don't say rude, weird things. I don't know. It properly like culture shocked me though, because I was convinced they wouldn't say that. I was trying to think like, surely that's a term for some thing that's not referencing his ethnicity.
Taking the piss.
Yeah, but I mean, they were kind of taking the piss, but it's just not something you'd hear in.
Yeah, it's
even
kind of
on
shocking.
YouTube channels.
Even I think a Canadian would hear that would be like, oh, okay,
totally. Yeah, because I could see when I said that, you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like even you were a bit like, no, Anyway, so that's all I have to say about it. Good luck to him. I just want him back in rugby. I don't care about the NFL.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Good.
He'll be back in a year.
Good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like completely wrong.
Yeah, maybe he's amazing.
If he makes it in the NFL, if he plays a season, that will be a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So
put Wales on the map, eh?
Put Wales on the map.
Unless they think he's Irish.
Unless he's Irish. Man, this Irish player is really fucking
Put
good.
Ireland on the map even more than it already is. Yeah. Anyway.
So speaking of global rugby.
Yeah. Got a conspiracy?
No, not a conspiracy. I was just, how we were talking about the rule changes and stuff like that being proposed.
Yeah.
So the number one rule change that I think is going to happen globally, and it's going to probably go through, is the 20-minute red.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the 20-minute red?
I've gone back and forth with this a lot, right? Because I remember a game where it was Scarlets and Ulster, and a winger, Tom Rogers, he kind of got decapitated by an Ulster player. I don't think it was particularly malicious, but it was a red card, right?
Sorry, what game was this again? What game were you talking about?
It was Scarlets Ulster. It was years ago.
Of course, it's the Wales versus Irish team coming from you.
What do you mean?
I want to tell you a story where the evil Irish were playing the Angel Wales.
All right, I'm gonna say Team A were playing Team B. It's not the only example of it, and it's definitely happened to Irish teams because I've talked to Irish guys about similar incidents. Right? I'll give you a more general example then. So imagine your team's playing, and whether it's malicious or not, a player doesn't get a red card for what should be a red card offense. They get a yellow card, right? They go off, but that person that they hurt can't come back on. Right, this Tom Rogers in that game was knocked the fuck out. Right, he couldn't come back on because he failed the HA.
Okay, so I think he might be.
But let me finish because how this finishes is important. That guy who got the yellow, came back on, scored the winning try, and that guy he knocked out couldn't come back and play. To me, that was. I understand the context. It wasn't malicious. That guy deserved to come back on because it was a yellow card. It's not his problem, right? Came back, scored a winning try. He's not going to come back on and not try hard, is he? He's a professional athlete. So I understand that. But what would happen with this 20-minute red is, and I understand that player isn't coming back on, but what you're saying is your team can do something potentially very dangerous and you've still got a reasonably good chance of winning a game when, you should have a red card is a collective punishment. It should be a deterrent. It should go, you've done something so dangerous, your team kind of deserves to lose at this stage, right?
You do understand that, like, when you get a 20-minute red, like, if you're given a 20-minute red card, you don't come back on.
That's what, I know. I just said that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But your team, I'm saying a red card is a collective punishment. It should be a collective punishment. If one of your players does something very dangerous, your team suffers because of it.
Yeah.
And they should suffer significantly because you could kill a guy.
Yeah. See, I was like you too. I've been going back and forth on this because has the 20-minute red destroyed Super Rugby?
I don't think we've seen enough of it.
Right?
That's my problem.
So, like, I don't think the impact, like, I'm trying to find, like, ideally, when I think about it, a lot of things come up. Like, you're going to see teams now play even more on the edge.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of allowed to. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
I'm
that's what I think
that.
this opens the door to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I know, like in Super Rugby, they play on the edge.
Yeah.
Like, they're constantly trying to, like, they're playing on the edge of the rules.
I think at the breakdown, that's very true.
And the breakdown, too.
Yeah.
And, but I haven't seen, like, a major negative impact on it in Super Rugby.
All I'm saying is trial it for a little bit longer. Because like you, I am on the fence. I do think there's merit to it. But I think if we're talking about player welfare, that's a big red flag.
I think you're going to see what I think, if I'm going to go down like the conspiratory lane, you're going to see the goon come into rugby.
Yes.
So in hockey, they have a player called, he's like the goon.
Yeah.
His job is not to score goals, not to stop goals.
Yeah.
His job is to physically punish or injure like another player.
That exists
and
in
he's
rugby,
a throwaway. He's a throwaway player. So he goes
Yeah.
on the ice. His job is to like fuck someone up.
Yeah.
And if he gets like thrown off, he gets thrown off. Like that's his job. Right. And I think I'm worried. I'm not thinking you might see this, but I'm worried you might see that. You might see a throwaway player.
Yeah.
And his job is just to take out the best player.
Yeah. Legally, you'd hope.
Legally, you hope.
Yeah.
But his job is just to be a fuck around.
Because if he gets a 20-minute red, who cares, right?
Yeah. Because he's gone, but the other team's best player is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
That's like, it's just headhunting. Like I think it opens the door for headhunting.
Yeah, it does.
We haven't seen it yet, right? So we could be completely wrong.
No, but like, you know, you go look at DuPont's law, where a smart player can find a loophole, they'll use it, and who can blame them?
Yeah.
And you're right, like that. You made a good point there. It's that like for like, right? Yeah, I lose that player, and maybe you lose your player to injury, but neither's coming back on. But if that player we know is not the same quality as that player, then why wouldn't you deliberately, or not deliberately, but you wouldn't care as much?
Like if
it's
you're playing
not a deterrent,
France,
is it?
take DuPont out.
Right. Yeah.
And you fuck that whole team right up.
Yeah, maybe you've got like a second-rate prop, and you think just fucking hit him hard in the chest,
right?
Like fucking hit him really hard in the chest. Like if you go off and you don't come back, they've lost DuPont.
Yeah,
right?
I think it leads to, players play more on the edge.
Yeah,
because the repercussions aren't as big anymore.
Yeah,
which is going to naturally happen. If the punishment is not as bad, you're gonna try to stretch the rules out as much as you can more.
Totally.
Because now your team's not crippled. Also, though, to say for the 20-minute red, there's been a lot of games that I've watched.
Yeah.
Where first 5 minutes, bam, red card.
Yeah.
You've been hyping up this game.
Yeah.
For months.
Yeah.
And then the first 5 minutes,
it does ruin games.
There's a red card.
It does ruin games.
And like as a fan, I think as a general fan, if you don't give a fuck about the players at all, their welfare and everything like that, like it saves games from being completely over.
It does.
Right? But also at the same time, like if you're cheering for the opposite team and this guy basically gets away with murder,
No, but you're making a good point here. You're close to it. I'm going to say a couple of things. First of all, rugby has had enforcers historically. There's a South African player, Bakkies Botha.
Yeah.
He was, he's a good player, but they called him an enforcer.
Yeah.
Which is essentially the same as he's your physical presence on the field,
He's
right?
your goon.
And he did some nasty things to Shane Williams. I remember it. He'd like tackle him and headbutt him on the ground and stuff, right? But the problem we've got now is we're at a weird intersection where all the things you said are true. If it wasn't for the fact that these red cards in our game are inconsistent and disputable, right? So if we were in an area of rugby where we're like, that's definitely a red and the referees are refereeing it perfectly, then I would not want this 20-minute thing, because if you commit a red card offence, you probably deserve to lose the game. It's like when Wales were winning the Jam Slam and everyone was pissed at us for losing games because they got a red card. And it's like, well, don't fucking try and decapitate our players then. That's your problem, not our problem, right?
Yeah, because like right now you can make a good argument that like, there's a lot of red cards that are questionable.
Yes,
like, that should be a red card, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have been a red card, but it was, right?
It's like that Tom Curry one in the World Cup. It was disputable, to be honest.
And then
right?
since there's no consistency in that thing, which there's never going to be.
Yeah,
there's never going to be consistency because the game is so dynamic.
Yeah.
Every call is so different.
Yeah.
You're never going to get that consistency that the fans want.
I agree.
So that's why I think the 20-minute red is kind of a good compromise.
I think so. But what I'm saying with both of those things, with adjusting to these new tackle height rules and the 20-minute red, trial it a little bit more. Everything in rugby with the rule changes seems to happen so fucking fast and so frequently. It's like, let it bed in for a bit at the club level so we can see what works and what doesn't. It's not a good enough sample one season of Super Rugby to go, this works for me.
Yeah, because I think it's in its second season, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. But do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it's a bad idea, but neither do I think the tackle height rules are a bad idea. But you've got to wait to see what works and what doesn't work, right?
Yeah, you got to things sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
But in application, it needs to be some time.
It does, exactly. That's all I'm saying.
Give it some time.
Yeah.
Because yes, they introduced let's just say, like, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they introduced the 20-minute red last season.
Yes, they did.
For Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Teams need time to figure out how to really navigate that, right?
Yeah.
Really work with it, really learn how to exploit it.
And exactly, you need to allow a smart team to go, let's see how they play with that. Because like with DuPont's law, DuPont realized there's a loophole here and I can exploit it. And without that, we'd still have this ridiculous law where if you just stand still, you're onside. That's bullshit.
It's like video games these days, right? They just shoot them out without having enough play testing.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then when you have millions of people playing, they figure out all these glitches and shit.
Yeah,
and stuff.
they do like the alpha phase thing, right?
Yeah.
Which, isn't a bad idea because you just let a million people have a play around with it and you go, oh, that's broken.
Yeah. So,
but it is messed up as well because neither do you want to be playing with people's health, right? If we're saying player safety is paramount, then, you do have to sort of immediately go, we're doing this for the benefit of the game. So the 20-minute red, the negatives of it are related to player welfare, so you should trial it a wee bit more before you bring it in at a national level.
Yeah, you really want to see you want to see who really like exploits that thing.
Yeah.
And see if that even happens.
I think we agree then,
more team.
I think we're on the same page at the end of the day.
Kind of on the same page. I think so, because like I think I'm not totally opposed to a 20-minute red,
am I.
but I'm not totally for it either.
Yeah, me too. I'm on the fence. I want to see more of it before I make my mind up, right?
Yeah, I'm bisexual when it comes to the 20-minute red card.
Yeah, I was pretty cis white male straight when it came to the bunker, but when it comes to that, yeah.
Plus, you can't make everyone happy.
No.
Yeah, cannot make everyone happy. So you bring in one thing and you're going to make a bunch of people mad. You bring in another thing, you're never going to fix this game.
Yeah,
it's always going to be like this Wild West shit. Yeah. Especially the calls and the refs. They're always just so like random. And what's wrong? Why are you so happy? You're just smirking over there.
I'm just thinking about it.
Thinking about what?
Honestly, I wanted to talk more about the bunker thing as well because I think like they introduced that pretty quickly, and I liked that immediately.
I liked it too. I thought it took the pressure off the refs and it kept the game flowing more.
But then I was surprised by the kickback against it when I was seeing people online going, "Oh, I hate it." Maybe it's the same. Maybe I just don't know the other side of the coin with the 20-minute red. That's what I was thinking about.
It's because I don't think people just don't like people making decisions that they can't see. Maybe like because they're behind a closed, they're just a voice on the screen. They don't like that. I don't know.
Segue to controversial TMO the other day in Saracens.
Oh, that thing right there.
Tell me about that.
So
that's a real nice segue.
Yeah. So I don't know the full details of the story, but what I've heard was the TMO caught something that the commentator said that he missed.
Yeah.
And then he got caught on hot mic talking about how he was going to basically not look at it because the commentator mentioned it.
Yeah.
And so he didn't want to bring any controversy about it, right? Which created a bunch of controversy.
Yeah, that's the state rugby's in.
So when I heard when I first heard the story, I didn't know the full details. All I heard was a TMO was caught on the mic saying, "Oh, I'm not going to look at that." Blah blah blah. And I thought that was suspicious. But when I read the whole story, I was like, "Okay, there's really not much here." Like the guy was trying to make the best decision at the time, right? He's a guy; it's his job. People fuck up at their job. He missed that call. He didn't want to make it look suspicious. I bet just probably some time.
And it wasn't a close game at that stage either.
Yeah. So I don't think there was much controversy that the media made out of it.
Yeah.
Because like. Fuck, he just didn't want to make a thing of it.
Maybe he's saying, I don't want to let the commentator influence my decision.
Then why is he listening to the commentator?
That's what people are arguing about, right? They're saying they shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I would assume they're going to listen to the commentator for those extra eyes.
I thought so as well. You've got an ex-rugby professional who's talking about the game and will say things you might miss. Why wouldn't you listen to him?
Yeah, so information is key.
We have to trust people as well. Yeah, you want an unbiased environment, but at some point you have to just trust your professionals to go, you have all these different sources of information. We believe that you won't be affected by them in a biased way, right?
Yeah, I think these people are just worried about how they think the game is too analyzed. There's just too many people.
Well, stop introducing new fucking rules then,
Yeah. Like they're not even like, and the problem is too, is they're not even enforcing some rules that they already have.
Exactly. Like
if you're like the rules are all over the place and they want to bring in new ones, but they're not even enforcing other ones that they want to enforce.
That's why that DuPont law thing was a good thing, because what they didn't change the rule, they just got rid of it.
Yeah.
Right? Less rules is good,
So Yeah, I thought there wasn't much to. I thought that the
Storm
guy.
in a teacup.
I think that guy just kind of panicked and made a decision.
Yeah.
And it kind of went against him a little bit.
And we've got to forgive human beings every now and again, don't we?
Yeah. Actually, no. Fuck him. We're hating
Oh,
today.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck TMOs.
TMOs.
forever. All
Fuck
of them.
those guys.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
You should just burn them at the stake. Just do a bunch of TMOs. What did we do wrong?
Which? They're called laws, not rules.
So next weekend.
We're going to look at the Champions Cup to
yes,
finish.
we are going to look at the Champions Cup.
All right.
Because it's back.
Back to familiar territory.
Yeah. Let's take some predictions.
Harlequins, Glasgow Warriors, Friday afternoon or night, wherever you are.
Yeah. At the Stoop.
At the Stoop.
How do you think this game's going to go?
Quins looked good today against Bath.
Quins look good.
Until Bath came back. I'm like, how do you not defend that lead? I think Glasgow have been a bit ropey. I thought Marcus Smith is looking good.
Yep.
I think Quins win that game.
I am going to go against you here.
Okay, fuck.
Because I think these
Please
are both...
don't. I'm
these
shit
are kind
at
of,
predicting.
These are kind of both back and forth teams. But I think Glasgow is gonna do a number on that.
Really?
Yeah.
On what you basing that on?
Just feeling.
Vibes.
Just vibes.
I trust my gut a bit more. I might predict some things right.
I like the URC teams still have that feeling that they're like the natural underdogs, so they're going up to the big boys to play.
That's true.
Right? Even though they're very
Glasgow.
comparable.
Yeah.
Harlequins are a good team, but
Harlequins,
I don't know.
I
I
like
think
that.
there's gonna be some passion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it. But I'm sticking with Harlequins.
Oh my gosh, it is Leon versus the Bulls.
Well, I hope that Bulls getting trashed by Leinster wasn't them all the time, because I thought Bulls were like, potential winners of this competition. Bulls are playing at home, I think.
Yes.
So I'm going to go Bulls, because you don't bet against South African teams in South Africa.
Ooh. Oh man.
They've got to prove me right here, because they've been a little bit, they look ropey against Leinster.
So you're going you're making some big calls here.
Am I?
I think Leon's a pretty good team.
Leon are a pretty good team, but like I said, you don't bet against South Africans in South Africa. The altitude, it matters.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bulls too.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah, Leon's a big team too.
No, they're good, man. They're really class team. Yeah.
They've been kind of like 50-50, though.
Yeah.
Like I still think they're good, but
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm with you with this. The Bulls.
Yeah, these are knockout games now as well.
Yeah, these are knockout games.
Yeah. Exeter Bath. Exeter at home, I think.
With Bath.
Yeah, Exeter all day. Bath are too inconsistent for me.
Yeah, I think Exeter.
Finn Russell's made Bath a better team, but they're still not a knockout games team.
Oh, that's gonna be a good game though.
I want to watch that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stormers La Rochelle.
Oh, La Rochelle. I'm going. Stormers haven't done enough. I think Stormers are at home. So maybe by my own logic, I should go with Stormers. And La Rochelle haven't been as impressive as they were last year.
No.
So I'm going to go Stormers.
I am going to go. Oh my gosh. Fuck. These are two big teams.
They are. Ronan O'Gara has lost a shade of his competitiveness as well. I'm going Stormers.
I'm going to say La Rochelle.
Okay.
I think they're going to come in.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do so to Stormers.
That's my hardest call so far, to be fair. So I wouldn't be surprised if La Rochelle can win that.
Saracens, Bordeaux.
Bordeaux have been very good. Saracens, though, look like they're back to form. Am I saying that based on...
This is going to be in France.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bordeaux, actually. I'm going to go Bordeaux.
Fuck, this is a tight game. God damn.
That is a hard call, though. I'm purely home advantage for that one.
I'm going to go Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Bordeaux boys.
Yeah.
Leinster, Leicester.
The battle of the Lays.
Yeah.
Leinster, they're at home. Leinster have won all of their games except 2 in the URC, so...
They've been they lost the last game they played against Leicester.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
No, I'm pretty sure they did.
No, they didn't.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Fucking hell.
I think they lost. Or no, was that? No, I'm thinking Munster, Northampton.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, Leinster 4 wins, 0 losses in the
Yeah,
Champions
okay,
Cup.
yeah. I'm thinking Munster, Northampton.
Yeah, scared me there.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, Leinster.
Yeah, Leinster are going to fucking pump
Leinster
them.
will
At home?
win. Yeah, definitely. That's actually one of my easier calls. I think.
They might even rest. I bet you any Leicester are going to rest players. They're not going to send a whole team out. They're not going to send their
Well, it's a
A-class.
knockout game, though.
Yeah, but they're probably more concerned about the Prem now. They're probably like, holy fuck, we're going to play Leinster.
Yeah, fair enough.
Risk like
I think Northampton are winning the Gallagher Prem, so Leicester need to come out. Yeah, Leinster, man. Leinster.
Yeah, Leinster for sure. They're just too good. Northampton Saints
Now,
versus
this
Munster.
game I want to watch.
This is going to be...
This is the fucking main event. This is. Yes. Sunday, 5:30 a.m. for fuck's sake. Thank you, Canada. Sunday at 5:30 a.m. Fucking hell.
We could watch both these games and then we can pod
Can we
afterwards.
please watch them recorded?
We can't.
Please.
No way. I'm gonna be at your house at 5:30 a.m.
Fuck's sake. You probably will as well.
5:30. I'm just gonna rough come too. At 5 o'clock,
Mate,
I'll be here
The doors are locked.
and I'll be drinking. Rocky, my boy, will wake you up with his barking.
Fuck's sake.
Oh,
But hell of a
man.
game.
This game, if you would have asked me before the Six Nations,
Yeah, right. The narratives have
I would have said
changed.
Northampton.
Oh.
But Munster have had a lot of players come back. Guys are getting healthy. Their team looks good.
It does look good. But you know what? Northampton's team also looks good, and they've got a better winning record. And it's in Northampton.
It's in Northampton too, but Munster...
But you know what, though? I agree with you in terms of parity of squads. Like, those are two really good squads.
I wonder if me being a Munster fan is giving me cloudy eyes for this game.
It should do. That's good, though. That's not a bad thing.
I don't know who's going to win this game.
No, I'm going to say Northampton because
I'm going to say Northampton
on
too.
paper, both of them have excellent teams.
Yeah.
And I think Northampton's
Proven more.
a bit more proven, and they're at home. So
And they're at home.
yeah.
Okay. Northampton. I'm going Northampton.
All right, swayed you.
I think the next game's kind of easier to call, though. Toulouse and Racing 92, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Toulouse, right?
Oh, man. Toulouse are going to... Oh, man. These teams are like... I'm just looking at the top 14 table. And
It's
they're like...
wacky, isn't it?
They're like right beside each other.
It's wacky. It changes.
They're only separated by 4 points.
I still say Toulouse just because I think okay, I'll be perfectly honest. I don't know enough about the French
Dupont's
league
back,
to call this.
isn't he?
He is back.
Yeah.
And Toulouse don't they have Blair Kinghorn, who's been playing real well for them as well? I mean, they obviously have a lot of excellent French players. Isn't Entimac back?
He's coming back. He's close. I saw an article that he's going to be gearing up to make a comeback.
Yeah.
So
If he plays, I mean, he's obviously going to be a bit undercooked. He's been out for a bloody year, isn't he?
mhm.
He's only 24. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to say Toulouse. I'll be honest, though, I don't know enough about French rugby to be very confident about that prediction.
Well, Toulouse is a team of fucking rock stars.
It is.
What
No, they're
Racing
amazing.
92 also is too.
Yeah, I mean, Racing have spent some money.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go Toulouse. I think Toulouse
Yeah.
might be. I'm pretty like right now. If I have to call this too,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that Toulouse are gonna win the Champions Cup
Wow.
because they are.
They are the top. They're the same as Leinster, 4 wins, 0 losses. So I'm going to tell you something interesting. Leinster, Northampton, and Toulouse have not lost a Champions Cup game, and they're all the top of their groups. So if you're betting against them, I think you're betting against the run of play a bit. You know what I mean?
The Bulls lost the game.
Yeah, the Bulls have lost a game. Yeah, everyone in Pool 1 has lost at least one game. Bordeaux, Bulls, Lyon, Saracens, Connacht, and Bristol.
Oh, I can't wait to watch these games this weekend.
That's going to be a hell of a... Do you know what I like? You know, it's spring, the sun comes out. I remember like back home, like you go to the
sun's
pub
gonna
and the
be out.
sun's out and it's like the Champions Cup knockouts happening.
It's going to be 5 a.m. The sun's going to
Fucking
be
hell.
out, and then I'm going to be knocking on your door.
I'm recording it. You can wait outside the fucking window. I'll maybe compromise at 6. Sunday, though. Fuck's sake. Canada.
Well, that was a fucking Wild West podcast.
We had a
dude.
little trip down dark alleys there, didn't we?
Yeah, we went all over the board.
Freewheeling, yeah.
Rugby's a big sport. A lot to talk about.
Well, I'm sad that we dedicated about 10% of that to the fecking NFL, but whatever.
The second NFL.
Yeah.
Well, friends,
Fucking
if you have
turn-based
any...
rugby. Sorry, I'm not finished.
Oh,
Sorry,
doing the
Steve.
email shit here.
It's all right. Sorry.
Well, friends, if you have any questions, you can email us at thefriendsofrugbypod@gmail.com.
Other people don't say that. Like, other people say, like us on the things. Like us. Do we do that?
Like and share. Like and share our podcast.
Yes, please.
What, you don't like the email at the end?
No, I like it. It's just not. You sound like a boomer.
All right, I'm ending this
Fax
podcast.
us at 20345.
Have a good one. Bye.